Good morning, Year 3, and do I have a surprise for you today? I know that a lot of you have been enjoying where there's more scenes of different stuff in these videos, so today I've persuaded, once again, my family to join me in acting out some of the scenes that are going to be relevant to today's learning, and there will be a couple of bloopers at the end of the video, so make sure you watch right the way to the end in order to see all the funny parts. And as usual, leave me a comment if you enjoyed any of the scenes in particular, and if you have any comments from my brother or my sister or my mum who are in today's videos, please do send them by email or comment on the YouTube video so I can show them to them. I know that they will love to see all of your appreciation of their hard work they're putting into making your lessons as fun as possible. Before I actually show you the scenes and explain what we're going to be doing today, let's go through our pre-lesson checklist. So, 3 things to prepare for today's lesson. Today's lesson is slightly different to usual. You will still need your pencil and paper ready, but if you are in Jade group, then you should know who you are if you're in Jade group. Today you're not going to be following this video, you're actually going to go and see Miss Fernandez's Amber English video. She's done an English video called Amber for today's date, so if you don't know where that is, just click in the description box below this video on YouTube and you should be able to find it, and you're going to follow that work, so you don't need to return to this video afterwards. If you're not in Jade group, so if anyone who's in the Indigo group and everybody else, you're going to be following today's lesson with me. So just write down the date and the LI, which are in this corner here. So it is the 4th of May today, 2020, Year 3 Reading and Grammar, and the LI is to write simple, dictated sentences that include familiar words and punctuation. So we're going to be concentrating today on the spelling and punctuation rules that we should already know. If you've not done any of those things, pause this video, go and do them, and then come back and press play once you're ready to move on. So for today's lesson, as you can tell from the LI, we're going to be doing something called dictation. Dictation just means a type of practice where somebody says something out loud and then you have to have a go at writing down the words that they've said. But we're not just writing down the words, we're trying to make sure we include all the correct punctuation and grammar just from the sound of the words. So for example, when I'm speaking, you should be able to tell if something I'm saying is a question, an exclamation. You should be able to roughly tell where the end of a sentence is, and you should be able to try to figure out which words should have capital letters. So that all this is really a practice of using the skills that you already know and making sure that you are thinking about them all the time while you're writing. So what I've got today are some little scenes that I have filmed at home, and for each scene there's going to be a voice, my voice, saying a sentence. While that sentence is being said, you need to listen and try to remember all the words as exactly as possible. Once the scene is over, you will have a short amount of time to write down the sentence as accurately as you can, trying to include all the grammar that there should be in that sentence. A lot of the words that are in the sentences today will have spellings that have been on your spelling lists in the last few weeks and months. So you should know how to spell them, but remember, if you don't, just try to think back to the phonics spelling rules that you know, or any spelling patterns that you might know. So we're going to start with an example. You just need to watch this one. Watch the video, listen to the sentence, and then I'm going to show you how I would write it down and how I would figure out what type of grammar rules I might need to apply in the sentence. Example scene. Why isn't Rishiv wearing a hat to protect himself when it's blazing hot? Alright, so I just watched that scene along with you and I remembered that what I needed to do was to memorise the words that were said. So I remember it was something like, why isn't Rishiv wearing a hat if it's blazing? Why isn't Rishiv wearing a hat to protect himself when it's blazing hot? That was the sentence. Why isn't Rishiv wearing a hat to protect himself when it's blazing hot? So the first thing I'm going to do is write down those words one by one. Why, and I've started that with a capital letter because it's the beginning of the sentence, isn't I know that isn't is a contracted word, so I need an apostrophe of contraction there. Why isn't Rishiv wearing a hat to protect himself when it's that's another contraction, so I've got another apostrophe, blazing hot. Now I have to think, how am I going to end the sentence? Because I can see at the beginning of a sentence that there was a question word, and the tone in which the sentence was read was, why isn't Rishiv wearing a hat? Oh, I've missed the word Rishiv, good thing I checked. Why isn't Rishiv wearing a hat to protect himself when it's blazing hot? There was a question, I know that from the question word and from the questioning tone of the sentence, but I've got to end the sentence with a question mark. So that's it, it's as easy as that. All you need to do is listen. Remember that you need to try to memorize the sentence. So, unless something happened, like the sound wasn't working or you couldn't hear for some reason, I don't want you to rewind any section of this video. I want you to try as much as you can to memorize, when the sentence is said, what the exact words are. An easy way of doing that is, as soon as you've heard the sentence, pause the video and say it out loud to yourself so that you really fix it in your brain. So as soon as you've heard, why isn't Rishiv wearing a hat to protect himself when it's blazing hot, you pause the video and you say, why isn't Rishiv wearing a hat to protect himself when it's blazing hot? So you have it fixed in your mind before you even start writing. And then, like I said, make sure you think about your grammar and your punctuation to get the sentence as accurate as possible. That's all I'm going to do for today as an explanation. So I just want you to go through each scene on your piece of paper, write scene 1, do a colon, and then just write the sentence as you think it should be. We're about to start the dictation, and I just wanted to tell you that if you see this colour screen, that means you should be writing down the sentence that you have just heard. So you will see this colour screen after each scene, and you will have about 30 seconds to write your sentences down. Scene 1. Because football is my favourite sport, I try to watch every match I can. Because football is my favourite sport, I try to watch every match that I can. Scene 2. When are you coming to my house for tea? Rishiv demanded excitedly. When are you coming to my house for tea? Rishiv demanded excitedly. Scene 3. So loud is a jet engine that it would burst your eardrums if you stood too close. So loud is a jet engine that it would burst your eardrums if you stood too close. Scene 4. Hasn't your older brother graduated from university yet? She inquired. Hasn't your older brother graduated from university yet? She inquired. Scene 5. After a long, hot day at the beach with our friends, it was soothing to put on some after-sun lotion. After a long, hot day at the beach with our friends, it was soothing to put on some after-sun lotion. Having eaten an entire family-sized packet of chocolate cookies by myself, I now feel thoroughly sick. Having eaten an entire family-sized packet of chocolate cookies by myself, I now feel thoroughly sick. This last one is a challenge scene. If you want to have a party, Mum called up the stairs, is it going to be on your birthday or at the weekend? If you're going to have a party, Mum called up the stairs, is it going to be on your birthday or at the weekend? Well done, everybody. That is the end of the dictation sentences. I hope that you've had a chance to check through your work. If not, then you can always check through it now. Make sure your grammar is all correct and you've remembered all your capital letters, full stops, etc. And then make sure you ask a parent or guardian at some point today to take a photo of your work and send it in so I can see how close you got to how the sentences should have been. Now it's time to watch a few bloopers.
What are you on? You're supposed to get that. Sorry, didn't I say I was going to throw at you?